2, 3, 4, 5. I got to have one more for a quorum. Oh no, Wynn's back. Wynn's back there in the back. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Government Center. We're delighted that each and every one of you are here. I'd like to call to order the regular commission meeting of the Macon-Bibb County Commission for Tuesday, October the 15th, 2019. We'll begin our agenda tonight, as is our custom and practice, with an invocation and a pledge of allegiance. So would you please stand as you are able, and let me call on Pastor Harold Crafter to come and lead us in an investigation. I've got a couple of scouts that will lead us in the invocation.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Let us pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, let your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, our debts, and our sins, as we forgive those that are indebted who trespass and sin against us. Don't allow us to be led away by the tempter into temptations, but deliver us from all evil. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Lord, we thank you for this city, which we call home. We thank you for our neighborhoods, which we reside, the schools which our children attend, the medical facilities that take care of our sick. Bless all of our service providers, from the sanitation workers that carry our debris to the fire protectors, our fighters that protect our homes and property, the police that protect our lives, and all departments that provide service for this city of Macon-Bibb. Father, you created cities for the welfare of your children. Grant us the courage to confront evil in all forms and injustice, and help us to be humble and seek those ways that make for peace in our community and oneness through Jesus Christ our Lord. Help us to depend on one another. Help us, Lord, to really appreciate that because of unity we have strength. We pray for the mayor and the commissioners and the entire government of our city. Lord, we pray that you'll continue to bless us, that we'll become one of the most desirable cities in the U.S. to live, to work, and to raise our kids. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Can I please have everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Our invocation was given by Pastor Harold Crafter. He is a 1968 graduate of Peter G. Appling High School here in Macon, attended Macon College and Antioch Bible College in Marietta, Georgia, was awarded an honorary doctorate degree. Pastor Crafter was ordained as a minister in 1982 to Pentecostal Church of God. For the past 21 years, he's been pastor of the Mount Sinai Church in Macon. Pastor Crafter, thank you for what you do at the church and in this community, and thank you very much for being here with us tonight. The Pledge of Allegiance was led by two scouts, William Burrs. William, will you please stand so that we can recognize you? William Burrs is a third grader at Veterans Elementary School. He's in the gifted program for the third year. William is the only boy in his family, has 4 sisters. Poor William. He loves scouting, and he's a great helper around the house, and he's now a bear cub. William also has a yellow belt in Taekwondo. It teaches him discipline. Brent King, are you here? Brent, stand up for us. Hot dog. Brent's a fifth grader at Veterans Elementary, 9 Troop 109, on his way to Eagle Scout. He has his Hour of Light badge, working on his first merit badge. He's an A student, the oldest of 4, loves scouting and doing community service where needed. Brent writes songs and sings. Brent also has a yellow belt in Taekwondo. He has received a certificate from the Bibb County District Superintendent for Technology. Brent comes back to recite the pledge after battling issues with juvenile diabetes. So glad you're here and glad you're doing well. Isn't it great to see young people that are doing so well when we hear so much bad stuff? Thank y'all very much for being here with us tonight. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of our pre-commission meeting held on October the 1st, and our regular commission meeting also held on October the 1st were prepared and sent out electronically. Are there any changes or corrections that need to be made? And if not, can I get a motion to approve the minutes? By Wynn and second by Schlesinger to approve the minutes as written. All in favor of approval of those 2 sets of minutes signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the minutes, those 2 sets of minutes are approved. Next, we have a proclamation in honor of Retired Educators Day. If you are here as a retired educator, would you please join me down at the podium down front, and Commissioner Lucas and Commissioner Bivens, both of whom are retired educators, would you also join me down at the podium? Good. How are you? Thank you very much for being here. This is a proclamation from the office of the mayor and reads as follows. Whereas more than 130,000 retired educators have devoted their time, energy, and talent to public education, providing academic development for millions of outstanding Georgians. And whereas the mission of the Georgia Retired Educators Association, the GREA, is to unite retired educators for fellowship, support, and educational and community service. And whereas the GREA has chosen November as the month to recognize educators in Georgia, and whereas members of the Bibb Retired Educators Association, the BREA, are collectively and individually involved in the Macon-Bibb County community and Bibb County School District through volunteerism as well as local service and civic organizations and causes. And whereas the BREA supports the educational endeavors of youth by annually adopting and supporting a specific school and annually awarding scholarships to a graduating high school senior and a college student who have expressed an interest in education as a career. And whereas because of its sustaining efforts in the meeting and exceeding standards of the GREA, the BREA has been named a unit of distinction for several years. Now therefore, I, Robert A.B. Rickert, do hereby proclaim October the 15th, 2019, is Retired Educators Day in Macon-Bibb County, and I urge all citizens to commend our retired educators for their remarkable achievements and for the models of citizenship that they have set for others. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand, cause the seal of the consolidated government to be affixed this 15th day of October. I would like to present this to you now, along with my sincere thanks and appreciation for all the retired educators do for us. Thank you, and you're welcome to make comments.
Mayor, I would just like to thank you for everything that you've done for us as retired educators. Each year you honor us with a proclamation, and the first Sunday in November is always recognized as Retired Educators Day, and we are asking churches all over the city of Macon to honor their retired educators by doing something special for them. And thank you again. And thank you for all the people who came today.
In the middle, and we'll get Next item on our agenda are public comments about agenda items. So if you had a comment about an item that is on our agenda for action tonight, this would be the time so that we get to hear you before we vote. However, nobody signed up to talk about or public comments on an agenda item. If you signed up for a non-agenda item, we'll call on you a little later in the program. So since there are no comments on agenda items, we'll move on to committee reports. And the first committee report from our standing committees is Operations and Finance. And that report will be given to us by Chairman Watkins. Chairman Watkins?
Thank you, Mayor Rickard. The Operations and Finance Committee met on October 8th, 2019 and took the following actions. The committee approved an ordinance to appropriate up to $12,000 from SPLOST bond revenues in order to obtain an inspection of the Robert S. Train Memorial Center. Secondly, the committee heard a report from the Solid Waste Department and Triple Point Engineering regarding the development of a landfill and transfer station. This concludes the Operations and Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Chairman Watkins. Next standing committee is Economic and Community Development Committee, and that report will be given to us by Vice Chairman Wynn. Vice Chairman Wynn?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Economic and Community Development Committee met on October the 8th, 2019 and took the following action. The committee moved to table the reappointment of John C. Walker to the Macon Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. This is to be considered at a later date. This concludes the report of the Economic and Community Development Committee.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Wynn. And finally, the Public Safety Committee, and that report will be given to us by Vice Chairman Lucas. Vice Chairman Lucas.
Thank you. The Public Safety Committee met on October 8th, 2019, and heard the following presentation. Greg Brown, who's the newly elected chair of the Pedestrian Safety Review Board, gave an update on the safety measures the board is contemplating. He also invited everyone to attend the Vision Zero Summit, which takes place tomorrow, as in Wednesday, tomorrow. From 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m., there will be breakfast and lunch served. It will take place here at the Government Center, and there is no charge to attend. So we encourage all commissioners. The mayor will be making greetings, bringing greetings, and there will be experts in the area of pedestrian safety here. So we'd like to have as many citizens as possible here to attend. And this concludes the report of the Public Safety Committee.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Lucas. Moving on, the next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, and these are applications for alcohol licenses. There are two of them, and both are accompanied by all of the requisite paperwork, which is a certification by the sheriff of a satisfactory background check, criminal background check of the applicant, certification by the Business Development Services Office that the appropriate fees have been tendered for the type of alcoholic beverages that they wish to sell, a planning and zoning certificate to confirm that the area is properly zoned for the sale of alcoholic beverages, a measurement form from the county engineer to say that the location meets all of the required distance separation distances that are required under the law, and finally a copy of the ad that ran in the Telegraph. Each of these applications is accompanied by that documentation. The first application is by Christopher Yee, doing business as CYI Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Marathon at 4915 Bloomfield Road, and that is for beer and wine package sales to go from that location. A second application is from Oscar Jorge Heredia, and the business name is Fajitas Mexican Grill LLC at 4696 Presidential Parkway. It is for liquor, mixed drinks, beer, and wine to be consumed on the premises at that location. Both of these are existing locations that are already selling alcohol, but a change of ownership triggered the requirement for a new license. The Committee of the Whole heard both of these, also considered one letter that came in regarding the Fajitas Mexican Grill application, and the letter really was complaining about the evils of alcohol and the damage of alcohol generally, but nothing specific as to this location. So they didn't raise a problem with the location. It was just the sale of alcohol generally, anywhere and everywhere. The Committee of the Whole took that into consideration, but moves to approve both licenses, recommends approval of both licenses as submitted. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of those two licenses signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and those two licenses will be issued as requested. That then takes us to old business section of the agenda, and the first item of old business is about some capital improvements to Luther Williams Stadium, and I'll ask the clerk to read that by caption.
A resolution to authorize the acceptance of certain capital improvements to Luther Williams Field in lieu of payments for rents.
The Committee of the Whole recommends approval. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the resolution as amended, had the amount of the capital expense at $38,000, a little less than $38,000. All in favor of that resolution as with that committee amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Got one no, so that's a 7-1. The ayes have it. The resolution as amended is adopted. Next is an ordinance to amend the recreation org chart so that we can include a tennis manager, and I'll ask the clerk to read that by caption.
An ordinance to amend the Recreation Department organizational chart and to approve a supplemental appropriation for the transfer of up to $42,100 in benefits from the general fund balance of the FY20 budget to fund the county tennis manager position.
The Committee of the Whole recommends approval. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the ordinance as amended signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the ordinance as amended is adopted. Next is an ordinance to repeal and replace the pay scale, and I'll ask the clerk to read that by caption.
An ordinance to repeal and replace the previously passed supplemental appropriation for the transfer of up to $2,200,000 from fund balance in the FY20 budget to fund a one-time pay adjustment in the amount of $1,000 to be paid to full-time active Macon-Bibb County employees from whom at least 50% of their salary is paid by Macon-Bibb County and whom are not elected officials that have been employed with the county for a minimum of 30 days on the paycheck issued on December 20th, 2019.
And I misspoke, y'all. I apologize. I said this was about the pay scale. It's really not about the pay scale. This is about the one-time adjustment to the pay, so I misspoke. Is there any confusion or need further clarification on that? If not, the Committee of the Whole recommends approval. Is there further discussion of this ordinance? Hearing none, all in favor of the ordinance with the committee amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the ordinance is adopted. Next is an ordinance to amend the pay scale, and I'll ask the clerk to read that by caption.
An ordinance to amend the Macon-Bibb County Government Policies and Procedures Manual so as to adopt a new pay scale and provide for annual 2% cost of living salary increases for Macon-Bibb County employees.
The Committee of the Whole recommends approval, and this is the one that was amended so as to remove any reference to annual cost of living adjustments. Automatic, thank you, automatic cost of living adjustments, and to make it clear that this was just to add steps to the pay scale with 2% increments. So it doesn't call for any actual expenditure of funds. That would have to be done later at such times as the commission approves. The Committee of the Whole recommends approval of the ordinance with the committee amendments. Is there any further discussion about that? Commissioner Allen.
I'm hoping that what we're passing and what we're doing will not just sit on the steps after next year, and that we find ways to continue to take care of all of our employees. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Good. Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Commissioner Watkins, I got your light on, sir.
And I support this as amended because I think it's important that we continue to move the ball forward on this issue. But I think it's very important that we give our employees, the concept of it being automatic was important to me. And I think it's important moving that and I realize that we took it out because of pension actuarial reasons, but we still owe the obligation to move 2% each year for our employees. So I look forward to the next budget season where we discuss that and make sure that we're able to give these folks their cost of living raises.
Thank you, Commissioner Watkins. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the ordinance as amended signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the ordinance as amended is adopted. Next is an ordinance with a committee amendment to appropriate $12,000 for some work at the Robert Train Memorial Center, and I'll ask the clerk to read that by caption.
An ordinance to approve and authorize the appropriation of up to $12,000 from SPLOST bond revenues and/or SPLOST bond proceeds, FY 2020 blight remediation, blight bond number 2 line item, to provide funding in order to obtain an inspection of the Robert S. Train Memorial Center.
Operations and Finance Committee recommends approval. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the ordinance as amended signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the ordinance as amended is adopted. Next is a resolution to approve the new 457 deferred compensation plan, and I'll ask the clerk to read that by caption.
A resolution to approve and adopt the hereto attached Macon-Bibb County Governmental 457B plan provided by Nationwide Financial Services Incorporated.
The Committee of the Whole recommends approval. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. That completes all of the old business. There are a number of items of new business that I will read to now and refer to committee for further study and evaluation. This would be next Tuesday morning beginning at 9 o'clock. That would be the 22nd, I believe, of October at 9 o'clock in the commission meeting room behind us here. New business that'll be entertained at that time include a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a new use agreement with John R. Walker Sr. and Dennis A. Walker to allow for the use of approximately 16 acres of property located along Lower Poplar Street for the purpose of grazing cattle at a rate of $600 per year for a period to end on December the 21st of 2021. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item B is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a grant from the Office of Justice Programs, FY19 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program in the amount of $69,982 to be used by the Bibb County Sheriff's Office and the Bibb County Drug Court with no local match. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item C is a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept a grant from the Georgia Office of Highway Safety in the amount of $23,905 for the pedestrian On the Move program. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item D is a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for a 2020 local maintenance and improvement grant in the amount of $224,182.33, authorizing the acceptance of said funds and appropriating the required local match of $667,254.70, plus additional funding of $86,284.97, all to be paid from the 2017 SPLOST bond proceeds and/or 2018 SPLOST revenues, Roads and Bridges, LMIG, LMIG line item, should said application be approved, identifying the list of road projects to be funded thereby. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee as well. Item E is an ordinance to amend the FY19 general fund budget to $164,486,473 in total revenues and $164,486,473 in total expenditures, resulting in a supplemental appropriation of $487,633, and to amend the FY 2019 budgets of other, I think that's supposed to be, of other funds where departmental expenditures were impacted. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item F is a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept a FY 2019 Homeland Security subgrant from the State Homeland Security Program in the amount of $31,906 to the Macon-Bibb County Fire Department to build and enhance Macon-Bibb County's capabilities in Homeland Security. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item G is an ordinance to approve a supplemental appropriation for the transfer of $33,889,414 from the general fund balance to multiple funds in the FY20 budget to account for outstanding purchase orders. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item H is an ordinance to amend the Macon-Bibb County Recreation Department organizational chart and to approve a supplemental appropriation for the transfer of up to $48,548 plus benefits from the general fund balance in the FY 2020 budget to fund 2 additional custodial maintenance workers positions. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item I is a resolution to request that the local legislative delegation introduce the necessary legislation during the 2020 session of the Georgia General Assembly to provide for the study of pedestrian safety along state routes located within Macon-Bibb County and for the construction of appropriate crossings and other improvements in order to eliminate pedestrian fatalities along state routes in Macon-Bibb County. I'm going to refer that to the Committee of the Whole. Item J is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a discretionary grant from the Peyton Anderson Foundation in the amount of $5,000 with no local match to be used by Bibb County Sheriff's Office Community Fund to assist in working with homeless persons in the downtown area. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item K is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a FY 2019 HEAT grant from the Governor's Office of Highway Safety in the amount of $290,070.81 with no local match to be used by the Bibb County Sheriff's Office to provide for the purchase of equipment of 3 patrol vehicles and fund salaries for 3 full-time HEAT officers. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item L is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of an FY 2019 GEMA, I guess that's Georgia Emergency Management Agency, EOD-K9, which is Explosive Ordnance Division K9 grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security in the amount of $3,000 with no local match to be used by the Bibb County Sheriff's Office to provide care and equipment to the Sheriff's explosive ordnance detecting dogs. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item M is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a Criminal Justice Coordinating Council 2019-2020 Victims of Crime Act Continuation Award allocation in the amount of $165,711, requiring a local matching fund amount of $41,428 to the Bibb County Solicitor General's office. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item N is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of another Criminal Justice Coordinating Council 2019-2020 Federal Fiscal Year Victims of Crime Act Continuation Award, allocation in the amount of $108,841, requiring a local matching funds in the amount of $27,210, and a comp advocate allocation in the amount of $72,962, with the matching amount, matching fund amount having been waived to the Macon-Bibb County Judicial Circuit, Macon Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee as well. Item O is a resolution to request the Healthcare and Retirement Benefits Committee to assist in evaluating and making recommendations regarding the proposal to adopt a new pay scale and provide for annual 2% cost of living salary increases for Macon-Bibb County employees. I'm going to refer that to the Committee of the Whole. Item P is a resolution to approve and adopt the recommendation of the Healthcare and Retirement Benefits Committee concerning the 2019 open enrollment process. I'm going to refer that to the Committee of the Whole. Item Q is a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute a radio system maintenance agreement with Williams Communications Incorporated for the amount of $787,486 payable over 3 years for the maintenance of a countywide radio system be paid from IT department budget. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item R is a resolution authorizing the Macon-Bibb County to enter into an intergovernmental ground lease agreement with the Macon-Bibb County Industrial Authority relating to Project Dove development at the Middle Georgia Regional Airport. I'm going to refer that to the Committee of the Whole. Item S is a resolution to approve the 22nd Amendment to the 2018 SPLOST project timeline and budget as presented by the SPLOST project manager. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. Item T is an ordinance to approve and authorize the appropriation of up to $1,500,000 from SPLOST bond revenues and/or SPLOST bond proceeds, calendar year 2019 Public Safety Sheriff Building line item for the purpose of acquiring and renovating the former Macon Rescue Mission building. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. And finally, item U is an ordinance to approve and authorize the appropriation of up to $533,000 from SPLOST bond revenues and/or SPLOST bond proceeds, calendar year 2019 Parks and Recreation, East Macon Rec line item for the purpose of completing the building and installing new baseball field lights at the Dolores A. Brooks Recreation Center. I'm going to refer that to the Operations and Finance Committee. That's all of the new business that has been prepared by the Attorney's Office and sent down to us thus far. However, during the remainder of this week, additional items may come down, and I would urge you, if you're interested, to get a copy of the committee agenda, which will be published by the clerk's office on Friday afternoon. And any additional items will also be listed on that agenda for the committees to take under consideration and discuss at the committee meetings next Tuesday, October the 22nd, beginning at 9:00 a.m. That brings us now to the public comment on non-agenda items, and I understand we had several people to sign up that wanted to talk to us about non-agenda items. First being Stanley Stewart, who wants to talk to us about a corporate tax increase. Mr. Stewart, thank you for your patience. We appreciate you being here, and you're recognized for up to 5 minutes.
Good evening. My remarks. I know Commissioner Watkins' heart, and I can honestly say that his proposal comes from a place of care and consideration. However, my objection is based on timing and the effect that it would have on the city. Economic development for a city is a competitive endeavor. If taxes are raised on existing Macon companies, there's a terrible chance that they may choose to relocate. The second prong of that same fork is that companies who have yet to decide where their headquarters or manufacturing facilities will be located may simply choose to look elsewhere. Economic development is a contact sport. You have other Georgia mid-sized cities like Columbus, Savannah, and Augusta who would love to pull businesses from or attract businesses first, not to mention smaller competitive cities like Dublin, Warner Robins, and Valdosta. Now is not the time to increase the rates. What we must do is to search our region, nation, and world and tout all the positives of Macon, Georgia, USA. Talk about our history, talk about our geographic location, talk about our schools, talk about our proximity to a leading military installation, 70 miles from the world's busiest airport, 160 miles from a world-class seaport. If we do this enough, companies will come to our city. They will bring jobs and thus decrease property taxes. But at the same time, as we court these companies, we've got to make sure that we have everything in place: housing, shopping, recreation, and above all, safety to keep them here. The last thing you want is to bring companies inside our city limits and have their employees decide to live, shop, and play in Warner Robins, in Forsyth, or in Gray. If we put the work in to attract companies, then we must have in place adequate infrastructure, which is why economic development is so needed in all areas of our city. And raising taxes at this critical time, when we need more businesses, will not translate into a sound bottom line. I understand where Commissioner Watkins is coming from, but I respectfully ask that you as a body vote no on this increase. But don't let your no vote be a ticket to inactivity. Approach economic development with a high amount of gusto for our entire city. I aim to do that in this campaign for mayor. I aim to do it if elected, and I aim to do it if not elected. Our goal as Macon-ites should always be to make this a better city, a place of destination, a safe and prosperous place for all of our citizens. I've said this before, and I shall say it again. What is good for Pleasant Hill is good for St. Andrews. What is good for Idle Hour is good for Fort Hill. What is good for Unionville is good for Shirley Hills, and so on and so on. My point is, we are a collection of neighborhoods, a community of individuals who, as we lay our heads down at night, should pray for the best of all of our neighbors, black, white, red, yellow, and brown. And when God breathes breath into our lungs in the morning, may we rise with the same genuine prayer in our hearts and our minds to make this city better for all people. Check your ego at the door. Don't worry about elections, politics, and other phony divisions. Worry about compassion. Worry about success. Worry about civility. Worry about doing your part while you can to make this a better city, state, nation, and world. Carve away political lines. Carve away racial lines. And be forever thankful that the sun rises and the moon and stars shine on us in this great land known as America. Far from perfect though she may be, just as we are, but that more perfect union starts in cities like Macon, Georgia, and which is more, it starts in hearts and souls like yours and mine. We're not always going to agree on everything, nor should we, knowing that we may take different paths to that common destiny. Some may take rough paths, some may take easy streets, but all can arrive at the American dream. Let no one tell you otherwise. Let us move forward united, not just in our name, but in our actions and deeds. Thank you for your time, and may God continue to bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. We appreciate you being in, sharing those comments. Linda K. Nally wants to talk to us about taxpayer concerns and a request for investigation, and I think she may have also prepared remarks and handed them out, at least to me. You got them? Everybody got them? Okay. Ms. Nally, you're recognized for up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. An article
Would
published.
you pull that microphone down? There you go. So there you go. Thank you very much.
An article published in Atlanta Journal-Constitution last week disclosed financial disparities in some nonprofit Georgia hospitals. Lawmakers now require nonprofit disclosures on their websites. And I searched the website of Navicent Health and did not see the required link in a prominent location on the main page of its website as required by law. And I contacted Navicent Health Hospital for the link, and I've provided you the link so that you yourselves can study the Form 990, return of an organization exempt from income tax. I studied the Form 990 for the 2017 calendar year, and I attached financial information excerpted from Form 990, which discloses grossly exorbitant salaries paid to Navicent Health Hospital figureheads, such as the president CEO earned $2,080,743. The secretary earned $739,370. The treasurer earned $725,866. The chief operating officer earned $512,788. The chief nursing officer, who is an RN, earned $373,717 in that period of time. And there are also disclosed on that Form 990 questionable expenditures and gratuitous relationships. Navicent Health has amassed significant tax-exempt real estate assets, and Form 990 disclosures provide evidence Navicent Health should be investigated and held accountable for its business activities that far exceed the legal scope of a legitimate 501c3 entity in the taxpayer's opinion. The taxpayer objects to government condoning and subsidizing nonprofit entities that brazenly mock and abuse Tax Code 501c3. Government and taxpayers should not underwrite operations and expansion of Navicent Health, which in taxpayers' lay opinion defrauds federal, state, local governments, healthcare system, taxpayers, and patients. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nally. We appreciate you being here and appreciate your comments. Next, Mr. Mike Odom wants to talk to us about recognition of Macon-Bibb County Department Service. Mr. Odom, thank you very much for being here. You are recognized for up to 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hadn't planned on talking about this part, but I want to thank the Commission for approving items C and D in the old business for the one-time adjustment at December and then for changing the pay scale. I'm directing my comments to you, but in reference to something Commissioner Watkins brought up, I do think that there needs to be some sort of link to an annual increase for the employees, but so that we don't get, I might, if you would, let me offer you a suggestion so that we don't get ourselves upside down. You might want to consider tying their annual adjustment to the CPI, Consumer Price Index. For the last decade, that's running anywhere from 0.25% to 1.5%. So that should reflect how their costs have gone up. Okay, now I'm going to talk about what I originally planned. Again, thank you for letting me be here. I've spoken here a lot. There were comments made last week that did not offend me. I didn't know I had a small mind or little man syndrome. They didn't offend me. I appreciate hearing feedback. But tonight, I'm not going to be one of the speakers that complains about anything. Not me, not tonight. I've run across a lot of your departments over the last 8 or 9 months, and I think some of them, at least in my opinion, that I've dealt with deserve some recognition. And that's what I'm going to spend my time doing tonight. I see a lot of your solid waste personnel. They're doing an awfully good job out there. I've met with several of the crews at my neighborhood, my parents' neighborhood, my in-laws' neighborhood over the summer. You know, they're picking up yard waste and they're picking up bulky materials, hot weather, raining weather. Talked with them, you know, a couple of times. I said, can I help you drag that over there? And they said, sure. They've always been very pleasant, very friendly. Next, one of the lightning rods around here is advanced disposal. You know, again, they get a lot of criticism, but I think they're doing a pretty good job given the scope of what we've got around here, this complexity, the thousands, the hundreds and hundreds of miles that we have, the houses, they're kind of like postmen. They're doing the rain and sleet and hot and cold. It's not a glamorous job. No, they're not perfect. But I kind of think sometimes we ought to walk in their shoes before we criticize them. I'd like to talk about your Public Works Department. Just a refresher to anybody that's listening. They're the folks that are responsible for sidewalk maintenance, street maintenance, mowing grass, taking care of right-of-ways, and removal of litter that we kind of rudely throw out, that we're not sensitive enough or mature enough. There's hundreds of miles. I happened to look it up. I'm quoting your website that there's like 1,300 miles or something of streets and roads in Bibb County. So I've seen some situations when a citizen comes up in their car and their two-lane street, Corbin Avenue or Bloomfield Road, it's blocked because there's a backhoe and there's a slow stop man, there's a carbide saw, there's they're working in the road. These folks are doing that for our benefit. Try to have a little patience with them. When do you expect them to do it? I'd like to thank the traffic department. Every time I'm out and I find a burned out light bulb on a traffic light in some intersection, I've got them on my speed dial. I call them. We changed the lady that I used to talk to. She recognized my voice. But they're always very pleasant. They said, thank you, we'll get on it. And without exception, I cannot recall one. I admit I might not have a total recall, but without exception, that light is almost always fixed by the end of the day, certainly the next day. Like I said, they're always very polite. Lastly, I'd like to thank your financial department and all your financial personnel. I make requests frequently for documents. They're provided. Occasionally I've had to ask for follow-up questions to help me understand something. It's been obvious when I've spoken, some of the information and data is not pleasing to me, but that's not their fault. They're kind of the messengers. They don't spend or collect. They report the facts. I think it's incumbent for me, as well as everybody else, to have a refresher on what the definition of a fact is. And this is a combination of a number of dictionaries, but a fact. Something that is known to be true and accurate, a quality superior to an opinion or interpretation. Mr. Mayor, with whatever effort my mind can generate, I continue to try to bring accurate facts before this body. And I know sometimes they're upsetting. So that doesn't change the facts. I'd like one last quote, and Malcolm X, who I followed, and I don't always agree with him, but he made a comment one time that said, I'm going to tell it like it is. I hope you can take it like it is. So thank you for giving me this time. Please pass on this appreciation to not only these departments, but the rest of them out there. We're too critical of them sometimes.
Thank you very
Yes, sir.
much, Mr. Odom. We
Okay.
appreciate your patience, appreciate you being here, and appreciate your comments. Finally, Mr. Donald Richardson is here and has got some grassroots reflections that he wants to share with us. Mr. Richardson, you're recognized for up to 5 minutes, sir.
The book of Daniel, chapter 9. In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. Manners by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Half the world, it is said, knows not how the other half live. Our exploring expedition saw the Fiji Islanders getting their dinner off human bones, and they are said to eat their own wives and children. The husbandry of the modern inhabitants of Gornau, west of Old Thebes, is philosophical to a fault. To set up their housekeeping, nothing is requisite but 2 or 3 earthen pots, a stone to grind meal, and a mat which is the bed. The house, namely a tomb, is ready without rent or taxes. No rain can pass through the roof, and there is no door, for there is no want of one, as there is nothing to lose. If the house do not please them, they walk out and enter to another, as there are several hundreds at their command. It is somewhat singular, adds Belzoni, to whom we owe this account, to talk of happiness among a people who live in sepulchres, among the corpses and rags of an ancient nation which they know nothing of. In the desert of Borgol, the rock Thebans still dwell in caves like cliff swallows, and the language of these Negroes is compared by their neighbors to the shrieking of bats and to the whistling of the birds. Again, the Bornos have no proper names. Individuals are called after their height, thickness, or other accidental quality and have nicknames namely. But the salt, the dates, the ivory, and the gold for which these horrible regions are visited find their way into countries where the purchaser and consumer can hardly be ranked in one race with these cannibals and men stealers. Countries where men serve himself with metals, wood, stone, glass, gum, cotton, silk, and wool, honors himself with architecture, write laws, and contrives to execute his will through the hands of many nations, and especially establish a select society running through all the countries of intelligent men, a self-constituted aristocracy or fraternity the best, which without written laws or exact usage of any kind perpetuates itself, colonizing every new planted island, and adopts and makes its own whatever personal beauty or extraordinary native endowment anywhere appears. What fact more conspicuous in modern history than the creation of the gentleman? Chivalry is that, and loyalty is that, and in English literature, half the drama and all the novels from Sir Philip Sidney to Sir Walter Scott paint this figure. The word gentleman, which like the word Christian, must hereafter characterize the present and few preceding centuries by the importance attached to it, is a homage to personal and incommunicable properties. Frivolous and fantastic additions have got associated with the name, but the steady interest of mankind in it must be attributed to the valuable properties which it designates. An element unites all the most forcible persons of every country, makes them intelligible and agreeable to each other, and is somewhat so precise that it is at once felt if an individual lacked the Masonic sign, cannot be any casual product, but must be an average result of the character and faculties universally found in men. It seems a certain permanent average, as the atmosphere is a permanent composition, while so many gases are combined only to decompose. In the Frenchman's description of good society, as we must be, it is a spontaneous fruit of talents and feelings of precisely that class who have most vigor, who take the lead in the world of this hour, and though far from pure, far from constituting the gladdest and highest tone of human feeling, is so good as the whole society permits it to be. It is made of the spirit more than to the talent of men, and it is a compound result into which every great force enters in as an ingredient, namely virtue, wit, beauty, wealth, and power. There is something equivocal in all the words in use to express the excellence of manners and social cultivation, because the qualities are fluxional, and the last effect is assumed by the senses as the causes. The word gentleman has not any correlative abstract to express the quality. Gentility is mean and gentillesse is obsolete, but we must keep alive in the vernacular distinction between fashion, a word of narrow and often sinister meaning.
Ms. Ridden, thank you very much for your patience, and thank you for those grassroots reflections. That's all of the people that have signed up for non-agenda comments, points of personal privilege. Commissioner Wynn?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two things real quick. A lot of people don't realize we have something that's on our ballot this year, and early voting is occurring right now. It's an ELOST, Educational Local Option Sales Tax. We currently have that. This is to renew that for 5 years. One thing I like about it, it has a sunset date, an ending date of 5 years. So if we don't like it, you don't have to re-vote it in. I want you, whenever you vote on something, and I'm talking to the public that's watching this, perhaps this is out there to vote on right now, make sure you know what you're voting on. People have complained about our SPLOST projects, and they said that they didn't know what they were voting for. So when you go vote for this ELOS, whether you want it or not, make sure you know what you're voting for. It's for educational expenses to promote our education here and our buildings and things like that, new schools. But make sure you read it and you understand it. That vote is occurring right now. You can do early voting on that. The second thing is a little more personal and close to home. Jana Bird, who I'm glad is in here tonight. She's one of our assistant clerks of the commissioner. She has been invaluable to me. She's always been responsive to me, and I'm sure she has to many of us commissioners. She'll be leaving us. Her last day is this Friday. It pains me to say that, but we will miss you. We thank you for all you did, and I wish you great success in your future.
Thank you, Commissioner Wynn. Mayor Pro Tem, got your light on next, sir?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Just want to invite the public out to a town hall meeting on Thursday, October 24th, 6 p.m. at Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church. Myself, Sam Henderson with Small Business Affairs, Ms. Pat Raines with Solid Waste and Advanced Disposal will be at Macedonia Baptist Church on October 24th, which is a Thursday evening starting at 6 p.m. Also, there's a Stop the Violence movement, Mr. Mayor, in which you participated and helped sponsor T-shirts for, and that we'll be providing to all the commissioners. And we're asking all elected officials, all groups, churches, and organizations to join myself, Commissioner Watkins, along with the Coalition for Middle Georgia on Saturday, November 9th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we stand together and denounce gun violence in our community. Also, finally, Jana Bird, who I could just sum it up just like the Nike phrase, just do it. No matter what you call on Jana to do for us in this commission, she's just done it. She's worked on both sides, laid back, nice, sweet temperament, always pleasant, and she really just does it, what we've asked for. And I think we're going to really miss her over this next year and few months. And so just want to wish you congratulations, Jana, you and your family. And we thank you so much for the opportunity to serve Macon-Bibb County. And I don't want to make anybody feel bad, but we pick and choose how we send certain people out. And I just wish we just chose a better way, and hope we still have time to choose a better way to send you out as your day approaches on Friday. So thank you again, and be blessed.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Commissioner Allen, got you all next.
I basically want to say the same thing the other commissioners did about Jana. I mean, Jana's been just a godsend, because basically she's like Janice. When you walk up to her, she knew what you was wanting, and she always was there. Said, "Here's what you're looking for." And I just want to say, you know, the people in Houston County, they're getting a gem. They really are. And God bless you, girl, because I mean, you are the person that you set out to be, and I appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Allen. Commissioner Wynn, got your light on again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to say one more thing, if it's appropriate to say this. District 1 will be having a community meeting, a town hall meeting on Monday, October the 28th at 6 o'clock at Forest Hills United Methodist Church. Everybody, including people outside District 1, are welcome to come and listen to our speakers that night.
Good. Thank you, Commissioner Wynn. And Commissioner Jones, got your light on?
Yes, just to add to all the accolades for Jana. Jana, you're a real pro. You always are. You're professional, and your attitude is always great. You're pleasant, and you're just a joy to be around. So we'll miss you, and Houston County will get a real gem. So good luck.
Very good. Final point of personal privilege from me would be to remind everybody that this Sunday coming up, October the 20th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the 48th Brigade, that's our National Guard unit, is going to be having a welcome home ceremony. They are finishing up their 9-month deployment to Afghanistan, and the ceremony will be at 2 o'clock this Sunday at the National Guard headquarters on Sherling Drive at Kitchens Road, I believe it is, Kitchens Road, Sherling Drive. Come if you can. Open to the public, and this will be an opportunity for you to say thank you to our citizen soldiers who have been deployed for 9 months and are coming home. So we're glad to have them back. No further lights on and any further business. If not, can I get a motion to adjourn? And without objection, We're adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the item, because Crystal needs to send that in the morning.
Okay.
So it needs to be signed.
Okay.